of their men were killed by forces loyal to the former Libyan leader on Saturday. Al Jazeera has two teams covering one of the last key battles in this conflict. In a moment, we'll hear from Southern on the eastern side of Sirte, but first, this report from Zaina, who's been into the city centre.
It was one of the fiercest assaults in this 7-month war. Anti-Gaddafi fighters unleashed heavy fire on Gaddafi's hometown from the western side. Loyalists fought back. And they fought back hard. Sirte city center became a battleground. Gaddafi's men are not surrendering without a fight. Intense gun battles raged for hours.
Hundreds of fighters are taking part in this massive assault against Sirte, and they're using heavy power to get into the city center. It's not an easy fight. Gaddafi does have support here.
His snipers have been slowing the advance. NATO has been supporting the fighters, stepping up airstrikes since late Friday. This territory is not only strategic, since it would connect East and West Libya, but winning this battle would be symbolic.
Sirte is important for us because we need to crush Gaddafi's strongholds. He has a lot of his fighters and weapons here.
It may be a reason why the resistance has been so fierce. This advance has other objectives. Civilians are trapped inside, unable to leave. They are living in dire conditions with the lack of basic supplies. But Gaddafi's men are reportedly using them as human shields. Anti-Gaddafi fighters haven't been able to reach those residential areas. They plan to hold their new gains. The battle is far from over. Zaina, Al Jazeera, Sirte.
Slow progress on the eastern front of Sirte. Artillery rounds from Gaddafi's forces, holed up inside the city centre, are stretching the fighters' front line across 20 kilometres.
We're about 4 kilometres inside now of the eastern gate, but the fighters' positions are still taking Grad rocket attacks. Even here, some of the forward bases are 20 kilometres from here, but these guys are still having to pick their way on foot to try and work out where the pockets of Gaddafi resistance are still holding out.
We get to the top of the sand dunes as another assault is aimed at our position. The rocket can be heard spinning above us. The fighters think Gaddafi spotters are now targeting this hill, so we make a run for it.
Pulling right back because we've just had a rocket attack now over our heads.
We are actually in Sirte, and we are working with our fighters inside, who are telling us they're in control of some parts.
The fighters move their heavy artillery forward. More brutal firepower is now needed if they are to silence Gaddafi's guns. A letter signed by the Military Council is passed around, giving 5 religious reasons why prisoners must be respected and well treated. The council fears fighters will take revenge against the citizens of Gaddafi's hometown. Back at the East Gate, the fighters call for the arches to be demolished. Tanks are moved into position. Local people hated this gate. It acted as a border post for the regime. Only those with the right paperwork were allowed to enter. The medics persuade against it. They've enough casualties to treat without injuries from falling masonry. Southern, Al Jazeera, Eastern Sirte.
And the fighting isn't confined to Sirte. Heavy battles are also taking place in Bani Walid, another Gaddafi stronghold. Doctors there say at least 30 NTC fighters have been killed in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Mahmoud